Buenos días, mi gente de Rochester, y bienvenido a su Hora Informativa. Mi nombre es Ida Pérez y para mí es un verdadero placer poder estar con ustedes en esta mañana. Su Hora Informativa es un programa que les trae información importante que esperamos que los inspire a una mejor calidad de vida para usted y su familia. Cubrimos información sobre los campos de salud, educación, empleo, vivienda y muchos otros temas más que nos afectan como persona y como pueblo. Su Hora Informativa está aquí todos los sábados de 10 a 11 de la mañana y nos alegramos muchísimo de que estén con nosotros aquí en el día de hoy. Tengo dos invitados especiales. Uno de ellos lo conozco ya por un tiempito y hemos hecho algunos proyectos juntos. El otro lo acabo de conocer, pero me alegro muchísimo de que esté aquí. I was just saying that I have two special guests here today. One of you I've worked with on different projects, and I'm so happy that you're here with me today. The other one I just met, but I'm really glad that you guys are here. So I'm going to ask you each to introduce yourself, to tell us where you're originally from, how long you've been here in Rochester. So I don't know who wants to start.
Go ahead. My name's Otoniel Piña. I've been here in Rochester for 17 years. I was born in Boston, but both my parents are from the beautiful island of Dominican Republic.
Okay.
So,
what brought your parents to Boston?
I wasn't born yet, but they wanted a better opportunity.
Yeah.
The story I heard really was my father got married to my mom. My mom came to the U.S., and my dad came running.
He followed.
He came running.
Okay. Why did she come? Why did she come first?
So she was
what happened?
So she was already in the process. And everything. And that's just when they met. And they've been married for over 30 years. And they have a beautiful love story, which I envy. I love them.
I love that. Yeah. I love stories. Yeah. What about you?
Justin Collins. I'm a sergeant with the Rochester Police Department. I've been here for going on 23 years now. I was originally born in the beautiful tropical city of Buffalo, New York.
I really thought you were going to say something else. That's too funny.
Yep.
Where's your family originally from, though?
Well, like my nationality? Well, kind of a mix. Ireland, Germany, and Italy.
Okay.
So that's my roots.
Cool.
But yeah, grew up in Buffalo and always wanted to work in city policing. Wanted to work there. They weren't hiring in Buffalo at the time.
They're lost.
Yeah, lost. And here I am, Rochester for life.
They're lost. Now, what brought your parents here to the United States, or your family, your background family? What brought them here to the United States?
What brought them from my family, again, I think it's pretty common, but it's opportunity.
Yeah.
Where they were from, my ancestors, there just wasn't a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
There was a lot of opportunity in America.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that makes our country great is we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
Everybody started out here for an opportunity.
From somewhere else.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I rarely hear anyone who wants to leave, right? Once you come here, we've got our struggles here in America, but people, it's an opportunity. It's a land of opportunity.
Absolutely. And I always like to ask that question, one, to kind of demonstrate that we all have something in common, right? We all came here from somewhere. And then also, for people that complain about Rochester, that's other people come here and make it their home, right? Their forever home. And so, it's always interesting because people either come here for opportunity, they come for schooling. A lot of people come here for schools because we have, Strong and the U of R and RET and those places. Other people come for love, like your family, right? Your dad came chasing his wife. And then other people come, for medical reasons, right? So there's always a reason why people come here and end up staying here. Yep. And so I like to share that just to kind of show that even though we're different, we all have something in common.
Absolutely.
So thank you both for sharing that with us. You said you always wanted to be in law enforcement. Why was that? Like when did you realize I want to be a police officer?
Yeah, I can tell you the exact time.
Oh wow, cool.
I was probably about 7 years old. I grew up in a single parent home with my mother and my sister. So I did not have a father in the picture. Grew up in the city of Buffalo. I can remember being outside my home playing with like little action figures in a truck. And I can remember there were probably about two 15 or 16-year-old kids that were kind of like neighborhood bullies. And I remember they came down the street, and I had some run-ins with them before, but I was 7, right? And they took all of my action figures in my truck and pushed me on the ground. And I'm these little kids, that's pretty crappy, right? So I go back and I tell my mom, And, you know, it's a long time ago, but some time passed, an hour or so. And then I remember being on the porch, kind of just sitting there, you know, didn't have my stuff that I was playing with. And all of a sudden, a police car came down the street, and the two kids were in the back of the car. He opened the door. He said, are these, you know, because my mother had called the police. He said, are these the two kids that took your stuff? I said, you know, I'm scared. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they brought out the stuff. They gave it back to me. He said, what do you have to say to them? They said, sorry. Put the kids back in the car. They left. I got my stuff back.
Wow.
So for me, that was it. I was like, that's what I want to do. You know, I want to help people who can't defend themselves.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and especially in a city environment
Yeah.
where there are plenty of people who are victimized every day
Yeah.
who don't have any outlet. And that's what I wanted to be.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because I'm sure if we were to ask the two kids that took your toys away, right, their experience with the police may have been very totally different,
Much
right?
different. Yeah, not a good
I mean,
day.
obviously you had a very positive one.
Yep.
They may, and who knows, maybe they did.
Right.
You know, maybe they were caught on time to say, hey, this is what happens
Yep.
when you go around bullying people,
Right,
taking
taking their
people's
stuff.
toys.
Right.
Can't be doing that. You know,
Right.
maybe they turned their life around. But that's interesting, right? At 7, you already knew. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's really cool. How about you? When did you realize you wanted to be a police officer?
It's gonna sound cliche, but I always wanted to be a police officer. My parents weren't big fans of it growing up, of course, but something I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Playing like cops and robbers in my backyard, my brother and my cousin. I always wanted to be.
You were always the cop.
I was always a cop. Okay, there was no changing it. All right, there was just no changing it. I grew up watching a bunch of like police shows, like Cops and all that stuff. I would be glued to the TV.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it just seems so fun. You know, it's something different. And I just said, you know what, I'm gonna become a police officer one day. Believed in myself, never quit. I was lucky enough to meet great people, as I was in the process of it all. People that mentored me, and I never looked back. It was just something. I also know I want to do it because I just knew it'd be a fulfilling job. You know, I know I'm not a person to sit down and just punch a clock or sit at a desk. I have like ADHD or something. I don't know. I can't.
You got to be in the mood.
I got to do something, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just something I wanted to do. And honestly, it's probably one of the most fulfilling careers. And I loved every second of it. Yeah.
Now, you said your family wasn't too fan about it. How do they feel about it now? That you've been here for quite a bit
all my
now?
father does is brag.
Yeah.
It went from I don't know.
No,
you should do this.
no haga eso, no haga eso.
Yeah. No haga eso. Vete para el colegio, otra cosa. You know, and I was like, papi, this is what I love. And he was like, no. Mijo, tú eres muy inteligente. I'm like, you know, in Dominican Republic, you know, being a police officer is not a career by no means. You know, so having to explain to my dad, like, Dad, it is a career here.
Yeah,
like,
it's very different.
This is completely different from Dominican Republic. I won't be on motoconchos and nothing like that. You know, I'm gonna be in a car. Don't worry, it's completely different. Cop. Yeah, don't worry. You know, and so he came around to it, and my parents are super proud, and I'm proud that I'm happy that I can make them proud. And, yeah, so my dad's always bragging. Yeah, cool. How about you? Like, what do you find in, you know, after being, so how long have you been in the service?
I've been there just 23, I'm up on 23 years.
Wow, yeah.
Yep.
So what does that mean to you today compared to when you first started? Like, you know, are you completely satisfied? Are you...
Yeah, so, you know, I've really enjoyed my career. I was telling to two gentlemen that I introduced you to a moment ago that if I didn't love it still, I wouldn't be here. I don't have to be here anymore.
You could retire.
20 years, you can leave.
Yeah.
I love this city. I love to lead. I've been in a leadership position in this department for over 16 years. I've loved every minute of it. Had some great people that I work with, great opportunities. This city's been great to me and my family. So, I just see it as an opportunity to kind of reimagine what we do and rebuild. We've got some great people that work here right now, like Officer Pena, but we're in a need right now to bring in new people, and I look at this as an opportunity to kind of like start over.
Yeah.
You know, kind of rebuild this, or no different than a sports organization would rebuild. We're rebuilding this organization, adding new people, and we get to add the people that we think kind of reflect the community, or at least are part of the mindset of customer service first. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at.
Tell me a little bit about that, because I know when we first met, it was through your empowerment program, which I absolutely love. And I love the fact that you always invite me to your graduations. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's thinking a little bit different. I don't think that always existed.
No.
So tell me where that idea came from, and how has it blossomed, and how has it helped you to really recruit the right people for this job?
Sure. So the short version of it is, I've been with the RPD for going on about 23 years, but I had my own business for about 6 of those years while I was an officer, and it was a recruiting workforce development business. And when I started it, everybody thought it was nuts. Like, why would you do that? Well, there's no need for that. But I kind of saw coming, and I think God puts us in positions. He knows where you need to be. Yeah. I saw that coming. And we started to find that a lot of folks were needing to be guided through this process. And that there was a lot of roadblocks that maybe didn't exist for everyone because of your background, because of who you knew. So we really tried to level the playing field and bring in some people with a lot of passion and help them get there. So I did it for about 6 years. Few hundred people now are either working for RPD, Monroe County, Brighton, Greece, wherever, different departments doing great things. But really the backbone of the group was community engagement. Customer service first. Public safety and law enforcement had a different way of doing business 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. Now the community is telling you what they want, the types of policing they want. Now there's always going to be danger, there's always going to be violence. You know, those all bets are off when really bad things happen, but by and large police officers deal with people in crisis, and 95% of what they do is empathizing with people in crisis, solving problems. So that's really the basis for the workforce development program, is to learn how to empathize with people in crisis, learn that people may have grown up differently than you've grown up, and paying a lot of attention to it. All these folks that come through the program will spend about a year to a year and a half, hundreds of hours volunteering in different parts of the community, so that we get a good look at them to see if this is what we know, what we're getting before we get it. And then of course it gives them a chance to see what the community is all about and say, hey, is this for me? Because we'd rather know now than when they go through the process and they get on the job and they're miserable. And we get something that is not a good fit for us. Exactly. So that's really, it's an exciting time to be able to have this.
I remember us talking about how you introduce social emotional intelligence within your training. Tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's really important. People don't understand how important it is to have this awareness of your own social emotional being, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
So we got so many professionals, obviously, in the city here that are available to us and to our program. So really bringing in professionals to talk about whether it's wellness, to talk about different cultures, whether it's talk about implicit bias, whether it's to talk about, like I said, your own mental health. All that stuff is important. It all goes into the person. But even speaking about this right now, when I started on this job, you talk about how things have changed. People would have been rolling their eyes like, "What are you talking about? We don't do that." But it's a different era. So really by bringing in professionals and being consistent, that's how we've really started to introduce it. And then you can talk all day and teach and learn, but then how do we apply it? And that's why the other component to we're talking about that social emotional intelligence is getting folks who are done learning, but putting them right out into the community. And whether that's volunteering at rec centers, or whether it's coming out to La Marqueta to volunteer, and being consistent, like coming often, so you're just not like a one and done. Wherever it is, just having people out there volunteering, Boys and Girls Club. I have them all throughout the city, and that's how we're going to ultimately build that social emotional intelligence, to be self-aware, to say, hey, is this something that I'm a good fit for, or maybe I'm not?
Especially that implicit bias, thing that, people don't realize how in deep that could be, right? Just based on how you were brought up or the people around you, and the fact that, there's a lot of times when people have never interacted with black and brown people, right? And vice versa, right?
Totally.
Because it could go either way, to be able to have an opportunity to do that and say, okay, how comfortable do I feel around this?
Totally. Right? I get to your point, like I have never met anyone from the Dominican Republic until I got on this job, and now I have about 6 or 7 friends that are from the Dominican Republic that I've done a lot of stuff with, and I've really gotten to know. That's the thing that's amazing about this job, is that you quickly get to know people, and we're a melting pot. Like we literally, every nation is represented in the police department. You have to trust everyone that you work with. You got to get real comfortable with them real quick. So it's really incredible how comfortable you get. And that's what's great about the program, again, is that every nation is represented. And very quickly, these folks that want to serve this city have to get real comfortable with different people that
Yeah.
they may not know. So
Yeah.
it happens internally and then externally as well.
Yeah. I remember, like I said, when I first met you and I realized what you were doing, that really excited me because, I come from North Clinton Avenue, right? I live on Scranton Street. So we've had lots of different things, lots of different challenges that had happened there, and I came to the realization really quick that we could not do the work that we do in our community if we don't have some kind of partnership with the police department, and so, to be able to bring this different perspective that, hey, no, not all officers are bad. Not all officers look at us in this way or the other, and to also be able to see the change that has happened within the police department. I was for about the first 3 years part of the PAB board, and the reason why I wanted to be part of that board was to bring that perspective, right?
Yep.
To say, nope, not all officers are like that.
Right.
They are working on some really great things, and they can be really great partners, because we would not be able to do the work that we do in the community, as chair of the Scranton Street Block Club, and we're now starting a neighborhood association, which we haven't had one in the Northeast area. We cannot do that work without the police officers.
No,
So,
absolutely.
So you gotta have
a partnership.
You gotta have a partnership, absolutely. So tell us why we're here today, because I know you guys are doing some recruiting. You have some other things happening. So let's talk a little bit about that. And I don't know who wants to share first.
Yeah, we're trying to do some recruitment, of course. So we all are aware that we are definitely short, but we just want to start hitting neighborhoods and communities that we feel like have not been touched. They're untapped, and we just want people like me, Dominican kid, that at a point in time, I thought maybe this is not for me. I won't be able to make this, but I continue to believe in myself, and here I am. So we're here because we want to reach to different communities.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter your living situation. We just want to reach them and show people that you have purpose in life. You can do something, and even if they don't join the force, at least give them some valuable skills that they can take on with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for us. So we're here just trying to recruit, trying to find people. Maybe trying to just change people's minds. Like some people think I can't do it, or I grew up in the city. Well, I also grew up in the city. Yeah. And some people are like, well, I grew up in the city. I don't want to patrol in the city, and they don't understand that it actually makes life sometimes even easier, because you run into people it's a familiar face. People like, oh man, I know, we went to school together, or whatever it is.
Or you're so and so son.
Yeah, you're so and so son. Oh man, and it changes the dynamic of everything. So we're here trying to recruit and just, we're all dreamers, all right.
Yeah,
some people have that dream and want to be a police officer, and they don't know where to start. And here we are, a lot of it is not having the right people to lean on. And that's why, Sergeant Collins over here, like he started what he did, and it's phenomenal what he's doing, because so many people are coming and they're learning and they're growing, and he's just paving out a pathway for these people.
Right.
So that's why we're here. We want to recruit, we want to tap into that market.
So let's say someone. First of all, what age do they need to be? Like what's the youngest age? Let's start that way.
So you can be about 19. It's like 19 and a half. So we'll say 19.
Okay.
And then the age limit is now 42.
Which is amazing.
It's amazing.
I never thought, at 42, I want to change my career.
Yeah, they extended it. And we have the exam. So the beginning of the process is the police exam. We got that coming up on May 9th.
Okay.
There's obviously a deadline, which is April 12th. So we're just getting ready to get people out here to sign up before then.
Yeah.
They can go to cityrochester.gov/join the RPD to sign up. But once they do that, myself and my team immediately get in contact with them and start getting them involved.
Gotcha.
In the past, people would sit on a list for 6, 8, 10 months.
Yeah.
Now we're immediately engaging with them and getting them ready to pass the written, pass the physical agility. From there, there's about 7 to 8 different steps, but we lead you through the entire thing. So there's not this downtime. Yeah. We know with this generation right now, you don't hear back from somebody.
Fast.
It's got to be quick.
Yeah, it's got to be quick.
So we keep people involved, and I got to 15-year-old myself, so I'm very aware of how quickly things must be done, right?
Yeah.
But
Mom, that was an hour ago.
Exactly.
I'm not interested anymore.
So over that. I was so yesterday, right? So yeah, we just really try to keep them involved. But obviously, the exam is the start with the physical agility. There's a bunch of different steps in the background. But yeah, while we're doing that, we're getting to know the candidates. That's a huge thing, and getting people to show up for that exam. Once they take it, as we talked about off air, the benefits for this department are incredible.
Yeah.
They're actually the best in the entire area as far as pay and benefits. And honestly, they should be. Our officers work the most. I mean, this isn't even debatable. We have some of the most hardest working professional police officers in the entire area. The numbers indicate that. Like, it's not just an opinion.
Yeah.
Our folks are working a ton and doing a ton, and especially with us being short-staffed, they're doing even more. And they're doing a lot of good. So this is a great opportunity for some young people that are just wanting to get their foot in the door.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is a huge opportunity.
Yeah. So they have to be at least 19.
Yep.
High school diploma required?
High school diploma or GED.
Or GED. Okay, so they have to have either or. And then they can just sign up.
They can sign up.
And then you start getting them ready for the test.
Just right off the bat.
So that
quickly.
written test comes first.
Yep, written test comes first, and then the physical agility.
And then the physical.
And that'll be about a month or so after they sit for the test. So it'll be very quick.
Yeah.
The department's really made some improvements in how quickly this process works. I mean, the state still controls some of the timelines, but how quickly we engage and how quickly this moves on, really some huge, huge changes, which has been great.
Now, for the test, well, for both, for physical and for the written. But let's talk about the written test first, because that comes first. You know, I've heard people say, you know, I didn't pass it, or this was hard. Like, what's the support that they get in order for people to pass this test?
100%.
And what would be the hardest thing on the test?
So you don't have to have any. So there has been people who haven't passed in the past. They've made some changes to the test, and not to lower the standard, just to make it more practical.
Yeah.
Because it's you don't have to have any information prior about policing to do this test. It's not necessary. It's really just
that's not what they're looking for.
No,
you'll learn that later.
Yeah, exactly. You'll get plenty of experience with that. It's really just reading comprehension. It used to be 4 questions. So the test that me and Officer Pena took is the same test that people have taken for 40 years. About 2 years ago, they changed this test. It now features 7 different types of questions, and it's all reading comprehension. The entire thing. There's no math on the test, nothing like that.
Okay.
Which is great, because if there was math, I'd be out.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be sitting across from you.
I'll flunk too.
I wouldn't be here. So it's 7 different question styles. There's a lot of support. We have our written prep classes that we do. Myself, I have Officer Calderon, and we teach a lot to get people ready. But for the most part, since the change has been instituted, as long as you can read and write
and understand,
English,
read to understand,
totally, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why you need to stay in school,
right? Exactly.
So you can read
Very
to understand.
Very important,
especially in 3rd grade.
Totally, stay in school, and you should be good. You get your foot in the door. You take that test, you pass, and then from there, you basically got an entry into the dance, which is getting through this process.
Right. What about the physical part? Because I also hear that the physical part can be a little intense, especially if you're not used to, if you've been sitting home playing games on your whatever games, Xbox or whatever, then you're not moving around too much. It might be a little harder for you, but it's not impossible. So tell us about that.
It is not. So we have physical agility training that we do. It's every other Monday night, and then we have different groups that break out and go different times during the week. There's been people that have been in this program that have been 300 pounds and overweight, and now have lost all of it and became cops. So it's really about what you're willing to do. You're willing to put the work in.
Yeah.
That's the key. But we meet pretty regularly. We have instructors that are part of my team that are specifically designed to get people to pass the test.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of success in getting people from one place to another in pretty short order. So we've got you covered with the written, and we've got you covered with the physical. We'll literally guide you through this.
Yeah. I just want to ask Officer Peña a few of the questions in Spanish so he can translate for us. So, ¿qué cualificaciones tiene que tener un joven o una joven para entrar en la policía?
Solamente necesita su diploma de high school, GED. Son la única cosa que necesitan. Después de ahí es un examen físico. El examen físico, honestamente, todo va por la edad. So, una persona de 30 años no va a ser lo mismo que una persona de
19.
De 19 ni 20 años. Okay,
Sí,
so,
claro.
todo cambia.
Sí.
Pero honestamente, mucha gente le cogen miedo al examen, pero porque no saben lo que va a pasar. Y no es algo imposible. Yo nunca era una persona que le gusta correr. A mí todavía no me gusta correr, ¿ok? Si tengo que correr, olvídate de eso.
No corra.
No me gusta correr mucho.
Detente.
Sí. Pero son cosas así. Y yo le tengo mucho miedo a eso. Que tengo que correr, que tengo que hacer esto. Pero con este programa te preparan.
Sí.
Como que hay un programa que tenemos cada lunes. Todo el mundo va y hacen diferentes cosas.
Sí. Para prepararse físicamente.
Correctamente.
Sí. Y para el examen, tienes que tener por lo menos 19 años.
Correcto.
Tienes que tener un equivalente de cuarto año o un diploma de cuarto año.
Correcto.
En verdad, el requisito mayor es el cuarto año y la edad de 19. Dijeron que pueden reclutar personas hasta de 42 años.
Exactamente.
Lo cual me sorprende bastante, ¿verdad? Porque una persona a los 42 puede decir, no, quiero cambiar de carrera, quiero hacer algo diferente y entrar en la policía. Pero 19 años lo mínimo, tener un cuarto año o equivalente de cuarto año. Y entonces él está diciendo que hubieron unos cambios en el examen escrito. Háblanos un poquito de eso.
Sí, con el examen ahora son cosas más... antes eran cosas como que te vamos a leer algo, te tienes que recordar todo lo que te leímos.
Sí.
Pero antes que tú cojas el examen, te hacen 20 otras preguntas. Después todo viene de memoria. Ahora todo es... Si tú puedes leer...
Y comprender.
Exactamente. No hay matemática, no hay ciencia, no hay nada de esas cosas.
Bueno,
el examen no es tan difícil como la gente piensa que si tú sabes leer
y comprender, porque tienes que entender lo que leíste, entonces puedes contestar las preguntas.
Exactamente.
Sí.
Y te ayudan en el examen.
Sí.
El examen, como digo, no es tan difícil. Las preguntas no son fuertes y como si la gente tiene miedo, pueden unirse con nosotros en el programa que tenemos y como saco ese examen de práctica con nosotros, nosotros le enseñamos, hey, mira, si te hacen una pregunta de esta manera, esto es lo que tú quieres comenzar a pensar y cosas así.
Yeah. So this written test, you said it's not as difficult as people think. You have to be able to read and comprehend and answer questions. Are there like questions of like what do you get out of these questions? Like what's what are they looking for?
So they're all police-based scenario questions. So because even though you don't have to have knowledge of law enforcement to keep it interesting and keep it on topic, they're police. They talk about police scenarios. They just try to see if you can follow multiple directions at once.
Gotcha.
If you can recall a color of something. If you can, recall. Can you write a report if you were hired for this job
accurately?
Could you write it accurately with like a timeline?
Yeah,
sequence like this started here, then this started here.
Yeah.
But none of it is like, it's not super challenging, and you just have to pass the exam. I mean, it is scored 70 to 100, but like I was telling these gentlemen off air, that there is so many opportunities. They will go through the entire list, so you'll get your opportunity.
Yeah.
Really, just making sure you pass, and then making sure that you pass the physical agility, which is what we've been hyper focused on. Then from there, we're good to go. We're rolling.
Right. Le pregunté, ¿verdad? Que obviamente el examen ha cambiado, pero ¿qué es lo que buscan en el examen, verdad? ¿Qué tipo de preguntas te hacen para saber, que lo puedas pasar? ¿Qué es lo que ellos están buscando en el examen?
Son cosas como te ponen preguntas, este es un cargo y tú lees una historia de algo que pasó y dicen, lo que tú leíste, ese cargo que leíste, esto es un robo, no un robo. Y te dicen exactamente lo que es un robo. Sí. Y si tú entiendes lo que es un robo, ellos te lo explican, te dan la definición.
Sí.
So, si tú tienes eso ya todo alante de ti, te dices, ok, sí es, no es, y sigues por ahí. So,
o cuando estoy escribiendo el reporte, esto empezó a esta hora.
Exactamente.
Esta hora fue que llegamos, esta hora fue que sucedió. Correcto. Detalles de ese tipo.
Sí, detalles chiquitos. Como digo, mucha gente se asustan del examen, pero... No es tan difícil. Te dan mucho tiempo.
Sí.
El tiempo es bueno. Hay gente que termina el examen en 1 hora, 2 horas, pero te dan el suficiente tiempo.
Sí.
Yo soy una persona que leo al paso.
Sí.
Yo no leo rápido. Yo cojo
claro.
mi tiempo, me gusta entender lo que estoy leyendo.
Leerlo 2 veces.
Exactamente. Hay gente que son así.
Claro.
Y puede hacer eso en el examen, que es lo bueno.
Sí. It's important to talk about the exam because, I teach a class and I give exams every so often, and the students become really, really nervous.
Oh, I remember
So some people just get nervous just thinking of the test, right? Like my blood pressure goes up every time I go to the doctor's.
Oh, yeah.
It just happens. My blood pressure can be fine. I go to the doctor, my blood pressure goes up. It's just the thought that I got to go to the doctor. So some people think, are like that. And you guys kind of, coach them and prepare them for that.
Make no mistake about it. I was one of those people as well, and I still am to this day. I just speak so confidently about it because I know it is not going to be that much of a challenge. I know it from being. But when I was going through it, oh boy, you're sweating bullets. You know what I mean? Like, what if I don't pass?
Yeah.
So yes, we all probably know those folks that don't have to study for tests, don't even have to think about it.
I know, right?
Come in there and get 100.
I don't like those people.
Me either.
I agree with you.
That's not me.
Them, all right?
That's not who I am.
I have to
Like,
work too
no
hard
way.
for my grade.
Never comes to
Me
class
too.
and pass the
Me
test
too.
like that.
Me too.
That's just funny.
Yeah.
But that's good. It's good to know that people that are listening, right, and that are maybe interested and maybe really never even thought about going into the police force, can say, okay, I'm good at testing, I'm good at listening and reading and comprehending and using my common sense type of stuff, that kind of thing, right? I have a high social emotional intelligence awareness of myself. I can appreciate people from different cultures and different traditions and customs, and I understand that and respect it. Already, right? Already you have a lot of the stuff that you need in order to be a police officer. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the benefits? Because I think that's, for a lot of folks, I have my granddaughter just graduated from high school. She's going to MCC right now. But one of the things she said to me was, I don't want a career where I have to work forever. Like, I don't want to work, retire, and die.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, because this is something that if you do start at 19 years old, you can make a career from this and still retire if you want.
Totally.
At a very young age where you could still, enjoy your life, your family, and your grandchildren, things of that nature.
You're 100%. So you're 100% right. So to Officer Pena's point, this is a place where you can make it a career. So after 44 months of being there, you can make well into 6 figures. So I think it's around $115,000 to $120,000 a year, which is great. You can live a great life here in Rochester. I started with a 2-year degree. Coming here, I went and put myself through a community college. Never really had any plans to go back to college, but just last May, I graduated with my master's degree.
Look at that. Congratulations.
Right. So I was pretty excited. My wife was
awesome.
She was happy, but she was ready for me to be done. Let me tell you that. Because I went back in 2021 for my bachelor's at Roberts Wesleyan. And
I got my bachelor's from Roberts.
I love it. Roberts alum. There you go. Give you a fist bump from across the table. And then I went and I said, I'm going to just get my master's done. So I went to the University of San Diego for law enforcement, public safety leadership with a bunch of other folks that I worked with.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is the city paid for all of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, here I got my bachelor's, my master's degree, and they'll do that for anyone that's coming in. So, when I started, if you would have asked me if I was going to be like, I'm done with school. Yeah. And then here I did it.
Yeah.
So that was great. But
and isn't it great to go to school as an adult? Because you don't realize how much knowledge you already have, right? It's
I really
just
liked
validating that.
If my high school teachers could have heard me,
Yeah.
I really liked school when I went back. My wife thought it was good for our oldest son to see me do it too.
Absolutely.
Just to see me go to school. I was like, Dad likes school. She's like, you like school? I'm like, yeah, I like school.
Yeah.
But other benefits include medical insurance. Like for life, myself, my family will have medical insurance, which is in this day and age
Huge.
with everything's going on, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
So really great medical insurance. Obviously job security. I mean, we really have an incredible opportunity, lots of opportunity for advancement. Yeah. When people think policing, they think just going to calls, which is a big part of what we do, but there's a lot of other jobs. Yeah. I mean, for me, I've been the public information officer. I've worked in recruitment. I've worked on managing the blue light camera team. I've worked in a tactical team. So I've done, and that's just myself. There are people on the SWAT team. Michelle Calderon is a crisis or a hostage negotiator. There's so many different jobs and opportunities. There's canine, you name it, detectives. So it's not the same thing every day.
Right.
It could be an adventure. You meet some great people. benefits are the best. Opportunities the best. And the magic thing is that if 20 years, if you want to retire, stop working altogether or start a new career, you can do that.
Yeah.
Look, I had a business while I was, so there's so, while I was working. So there's lots of downtime and opportunities. Yeah. So it's really just a great time to join this organization. And, the thing that always gets me is so many folks that are part of our police department go on to be leaders in other areas, other organizations. Yeah. And that's a testament to the training.
Yeah. Or leaders in the community,
or
because we've had mayors,
Sergeant
we've had
Stefferson now as a legislator.
Yeah,
there's so many.
yeah.
There's a bunch of folks that have gone on to whether it's chief, leaders in the community, and that's because the city of Rochester police officers have the most experience. Yeah. They're the most well trained, and then when you combine those two, you have leaders.
Yeah.
And I think we sell ourselves short because we, you can have opinions that we're the best in this, but the numbers show we're the busiest. We experience the most. We're working under a lot of stress at times. And that, to me, that pressure on that rock makes diamonds. And we have so many diamonds here in this organization currently. And that's why the drive is to go get more folks who want to be community leaders. Everyone in our workforce development, and these folks know it, I say future officers / community leaders. And that's how I address them, because that's what you'd have to be to put on this uniform and go in this community and serve. Yeah. Because it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
But that's someone who would step up and put their life on the line for complete strangers as a leader to me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's amazing. Cause like another thing too, like we have like things like deferred comp, things that we don't talk about enough. I feel like people who don't understand, it's like a retirement account that you put money into, and it's an investment account. Yeah. And when you retire, you have if you put money into this, as soon as you become a young officer, you can get your pension when you retire, and then you also have something else, kind of like a 401k. It differs from it a little bit, but I guess that's the easiest way for people to understand it. Yeah. But yeah, it's an investment account, and like I said, there's people that retire and they move, or like they start working in the community or whatever it is, become leaders elsewhere. But there's just so many different avenues that you can go with this. For
you being Latino, right, and coming from the Dominican, your family coming from the Dominican Republic. And also, your family at first saying, no, don't do that, mijo, don't do that. Yeah. But now you're in it, you love it. Obviously you're serving as an example. What did that mean for you? Like, what has that meant for you in comparison, right? Maybe to your cousins, and I don't know if you have siblings, but compared to your siblings, to your cousins, to your immediate family, being able to have a career in this way that pays the bills, that allows you to have, all these things that we all dream about, right? That you've been able to accomplish. Like, what does that mean to you and to your family?
It means everything. Like I said, I grew up, my parents weren't rich by no means. We didn't come from a lot of money. Right. And to be able to be in the position that I am now, it's phenomenal. My father's super proud of me. My siblings, I'm the middle child of, I have two brothers. I have a younger and an older. Yeah.
The middle one outdid everybody.
Yeah, and they're like, man, my older brother now.
Because usually it's that oldest one or the youngest one, but look at you.
And my oldest brother is like, man, I would love to do this. Yeah. Like, I see the way it has changed your life, the way it's changed so much things for me. My parents are super proud of me. Like I said, they were scared at first, especially my mom, of course. You know how Latina moms are. You know how Hispanic mothers are, all right? You know how it is. But now they're just so proud, and the joy and the happiness when my parents see me in uniform is something that I would always remember. When I first graduated from the academy, and when my parents first saw me in this uniform, their looks on their face was something that I'll never forget. And it's beautiful. Like I said, growing up in the community, being able to help people from the community as well, and it just brings just a sense of like, wow, I'm doing something. Yeah. Like, this is
I imagine pride and security.
Oh,
I think I have a friend, Jackie. She's in the fire department, and my daughters and her, they were really good friends as young girls. They used to all work at Dunkin' Donuts, and never in my my mind what I have thought, that Jackie would be in the position that she is with the fire department, and one of the things that I remember her saying to me was, either I really wanted security for my family.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be able to support my children. I wanted to be able to support my family. I wanted to have a home. I wanted to have health insurance. I wanted, these really basic, very basic things, right, that we think about. That was all her mindset when she went into it, and here she's made a wonderful career, from it, and I'm so proud of her, but really she went in thinking about her family, her children, and herself, to say, this is what I want for my family. And she found that in the fire department, and the same thing happens with you guys in the police department. You may have always dreamed to be a police officer, right? Or you may, say, I want to do something different from everybody else. Yeah. But then you find this sense of security, which I think is so important. And I know young people, like I said with my granddaughter, she's like, I don't want to work forever. I don't want to work and die. That's not what I want for myself. I want to be able to retire early, and I want to make good money, that kind of thing. So this is definitely a path, for those people that are thinking in that way. I did try to convince her to get into the police department, but she's like, no, I don't think that's what I want to do. But she still has time. She's only, she's only 18 now. She'll be 19 soon. So, she could definitely change her mind and go the other way. But it's definitely something of this sense of security. And also, people often talk about it in a negative way, but this sense of community within the police department. Yeah. Like once you're in, they say the brotherhood and whatever, but that's real. You guys are constantly, you have to, in order to do this job, you got to look out for each other, right?
Yep.
And so that sense of family within the department itself too is really
totally
important.
Yeah, the moment you go through some of the stuff that police officers go through with each other, you are instantly connected to them forever, because you know that you had a dangerous situation or whatever the situation was, and that you're linked.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about, like, what's the gap right now? Like, how many positions are you looking, to fill? Because every time I get a report, I meet with different organizations, and they often give reports from the police department, and I often hear, okay, these many people retired, which they're entitled to, and, God bless them, and thank you for the service that they provided. But that also means that now we have vacancies. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, what's the number you're looking for? And why is that important to have to meet those numbers?
Sure. So we're a little bit over, we're needing about 100 officers. So we're down about 100. And this is pretty consistent.
That's a lot.
It is.
100 is a lot.
And it has been pretty consistent despite the academy classes that we're putting on of 15, 20 people. We're not keeping up because people are retiring very quickly. It's just, it all comes down to when you were hired and if you're ready to leave. Yeah. And we're seeing large classes just retire and start something new, which again, to your point, is their right. And that's something they've earned. But, we want to try to fill those ranks as fast as possible, which is why the need to get out here and get people involved is crucial. But, a little over 100 is what we're down right now. We're just trying to get those folks. It sounds easy, right, if you get an exam, but a lot of folks will sign up for the exam and not show up for the exam. So you might see a number of, they had 700, 800 people sign up. But, only 300 showed up to take the exam. Exactly. And that's where you're having the problem. So we want to get those folks that are really interested to do it.
Yeah. What about the physical? Has people quit because of the physical?
Right.
Like they've done fine with the exam, but then the physical, they just can't do it.
So historic, you're right. So the bigger issue is historically, people out of that, 350 that will show up, that out of the 700 that signed up, right? Only 150 will actually even show up for the physical. They'll be so worried about the PT, they won't even take it. So now out of that group, half will fail. So now you're talking like 65, 70 candidates. And out of that group, some will say, I don't want to do this. Or they'll be, I'm pursuing other opportunities. So now you're talking about 30 candidates. Some won't pass the background. So
now you're talking about 20.
Right. So this is how you see quickly. This is
the number.
So one of the things, obviously, we've tried to do to fix this, and it's long overdue, and that I've been tasked with my unit, is starting to establish youth pipelines. And that's our Police Explorer post that we've relaunched.
Yeah.
And that is our Teen Academy that we're getting ready to launch this August. And it's just trying to grow our own from within Rochester.
Yeah.
My team and I, we get invited to go to so many events with youth. But we're trying to balance like two needs, the need for youth and to engage, but also we're really hurting for staffing.
Yeah.
Having the opportunity to have an Explorer post and a Teen Academy gives us a reason to get even more in front of youth to say, hey, you might not be able to be a police officer now, but if you're between 14 and 18, we have an opportunity to put your foot in the water and to see if this is something that you want to do.
Yeah.
And what we find is we get some really good engagement from young people. We keep them coming back. And our hope is as these programs grow, and they are starting to grow, but as they mature and we move on to 3, 4, 5 years from now, these people are now becoming police officers.
Yeah.
And we've grown them from within, and we're meeting them out in the community. Officers are meeting them. Community groups are sending, like our bureau, or sending us, hey, check out this young person. This is my nephew, my niece, my neighbor. They're interested. They come out to the academy, and they start to engage. It's lesser of a commitment because they're young people. They've got school and other commitments, sports teams. But it's enough to get them interested and excited, and that will hopefully grow with some really fantastic young people right from our community.
Definitely, I think the way to go, especially with the youth, and especially since there's so much misinformation and misunderstanding of how youth see the police and things of that nature, and to be able to engage them very early on, is important, right? Because now they'll have a different experience from that, and can definitely be interested in actually doing this job. So I like those two. So you're starting something now this coming August.
So
with you. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the Explorer post started back in I want to say about 7 months ago, and it's growing now. There's about 25 young people in it from all over the place, and they meet every month at the Police Academy, and they're doing great, and they're 14 to 18 years old.
Okay.
Our Police Academy is launching for the first time coming up in this August, our Teen Academy, I should say, and it's August 3rd through August 7th, and we're going around. We've got stuff all over schools, and we're looking for 25 young men and women to be part of this group. With the Explorer post, there's no cap. We can have up to 100 people, and we're growing it. But with the Teen Academy, it's a little bit more intense, and we're really trying to simulate what a police academy is like, but scaled to what a young person can do. But it's going to be intense, and it goes from August 3rd to August 7th, and it's Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and it's kind of showing you what it would be like to be in a police academy.
That's
so
cool.
It's pretty cool. So they're going to get to do a lot of stuff with the SWAT team and a lot of physical stuff and a lot of really cool, and learn a lot. And again, these folks are, because it's so new, we're just getting ready to get off the ground. My folks are really working behind the scenes to bring it to life. We think it's probably going to be a lot of upperclassmen, meaning seniors and juniors. But if we find some we find a young version of Officer Pena in there as a freshman in high school, we just might take a shot on him. Whereas the Explorers is some of the younger, the freshmen and sophomores. But again, that attitude of trying to find our young people and develop them and clear up any misconceptions, right from the bat. Surround them with people who are perhaps where they're from or speak their language, so they can see and right off the bat develop mentors to say, hey, that person's like me, or that person's from where I'm from. And then that way they can, when they have that negative energy that we all have, I had it where I grew up as well, about police, you have this mentor or this person that you see on a regular basis says, "No, don't listen to that. Here's what it is. If
this
you want
is what
this,
it really
you
is.
make it what it is." Yeah, there are good cops, there are bad cops, there are bad doctors, there are good doctors, there is everything. But if you want to do what I'm doing, this is the way. And having that consistent voice as what we're hoping to do with youth. Not a new concept, but for RPD it is. And we're going to change that, and we're going to grow our own. And that is going to make us one of the strongest police departments again in the entire area.
So any young person that's interested in participating in this, what do they need to do?
All they need to do for everything that we're talking about is join the rpd.com. As soon as they go there, they'll be sign up for the exam if you're an adult. It says youth activities, then we have our Teen Academy or Explorers, and they just fill out their information, and then one of the folks on my team will contact you and get you rolling, explain to you everything that you need to do.
Awesome. So, háblanos un poquito, porque él nos acaba de compartir un programa que van a iniciar nuevo en agosto para muchachos mucho más jóvenes,
Sí.
¿verdad? Para ver el interés, que ellos puedan ver detrás de los escenarios, como uno dice, ¿verdad? Lo que verdaderamente pasa en el Departamento de la Policía. So, háblanos un poquito de eso.
Sí, sería en agosto, como él dijo. Es una oportunidad muy chula, algo que I wish I had it when I was coming out, you know.
Right.
So básicamente sería con diferentes oficiales, sería como estando en la academia, pero son muchachos del grado 11, 12, el 10 grado, no importa. Y lo que van a
Él
hacer,
dijo de 14 años hasta 18
años,
sí.
yeah. So tú vas y, como digo, sería como una academia de 8 a la mañana hasta las 4 de la tarde, pero tú estarías con gente del SWAT, con diferentes oficiales, con los perros, con todo. So,
tienes una experiencia completa.
Tienes una experiencia completa, corriendo, haciendo todo lo que tú harías en una academia.
Sí.
Claro, no es tan intenso y
claro, y
y
no vas a estar en peligro. Pero,
correcto. Pero es algo que se pueden divertir, algo que pueden hacer. Aprender diferentes conexiones con diferentes policías y haciendo esto. Y maybe van a ver, yo sí puedo hacer esto. ¿Tú entiendes? Esto es algo que sí me gusta. Estando con esta gente me gusta. Mucha gente como que le tienen miedo a la policía, especialmente nosotros los latinos, que no sabemos mucho.
O no saben qué otras oportunidades
correctamente.
hay.
Y esto es una oportunidad, honestamente, para conectar con policía, conectar con diferentes gente, detectives, con diferente gente.
Sí, todos los departamentos.
Claro que sí.
Me encanta la idea, ¿verdad?, de que los niños vayan y vean por sí mismos cómo es ser un policía, ¿verdad? Todos los departamentos, todas las oportunidades que hay. Y también, ¿verdad?, si tienen un aspecto negativo de la policía, pues esto también se los puede cambiar. Y para que haya niños que digan, ¿sabes qué? Esto es lo que yo quiero hacer. Esto es lo que yo quiero hacer. Y él dijo que es como una semana completa, ¿verdad?
Correcto.
Del 3 de agosto al 7 de agosto. Estarían ahí desde las 8 de la mañana hasta las 4 de la tarde. Pero durante ese tiempo van a tener muchas experiencias, van a poder ver bien qué es lo que se requiere para ser un oficial y tener una conexión quizás con un mentor que más tarde los pueda ayudar si quieren entrar en el departamento con ese proceso.
Claro que sí. Y algo bien lindo, porque como digo, mucha gente cuando tú comienzas algo joven, a esa edad, algo que se queda contigo. Maybe tú estás pensando, quiero ir para la milicia, lo que sea. Y tú sabes que no, voy a cambiar mi mente. En vez de hacer eso, voy a tratar de ser policía. Y me quedo aquí, no tengo que irme para un lugar por 3, 4 meses.
Sí, claro.
Porque la academia para nosotros son 6 meses, pero aquí en Rochester, tú vas para tu casa toda la noche.
Exacto.
Duerme en tu cama. Son cosas que maybe te cambian la mente. Y tú sabes que esto es lo que sí me gusta, algo que yo estoy interesado en, algo que yo quiero hacer.
Y él había dicho que ahora mismo faltan como 100 oficiales, porque todos los años se retiran personas, y aunque ustedes están haciendo un buen trabajo en reclutando a las personas, muchos de ellos se salen, o no pasan el examen, o no pasan el físico, o deciden, ¿sabes qué? Esto no es para mí. Terminan, aunque pueden reclutar, ¿verdad?, 700 personas, terminan con 300, de los 300 terminan con 200, con los 200 terminan con 50, y así. Nunca pueden llegar al número que verdaderamente necesitan. Una de las cosas que él había mencionado fue la importancia de empezar con los de aquí, ¿verdad? Con los jovencitos de aquí, y empezar a crear esa conciencia de que sí quiero ser oficial, sí quiero ser un policía, sí quiero entrar en este departamento desde una temprana edad, para entonces poder reclutar mejor y que los que recluten pues se queden y terminen el proceso completo, porque ahí es donde está el detalle. I was just kind of sharing what you had shared, Sergeant, about, recruiting within, starting very early on so that you guys can meet those numbers, right? Because that's hard to do. Anything else that we've missed that we haven't talked about that we should be covering today?
Sure. So just to talk about numbers, like this is a challenge across the country for public safety, for law enforcement to recruit. It's not something that's exclusive to Rochester, but it is, make no mistake about it, the number one challenge that all police agencies are facing. It's the number one challenge that we're facing right now is staffing. So it's an honor to to be in this position to work with some of the incredible people like Officer Pena to try to go out and find these folks. It's a huge order. This stuff doesn't come to you. You have to be aggressive and go out there and get it. Yeah. That's why working with this young man is a great thing, because he has that drive and that passion to not only do it but to want to help RPD. Yeah. That's why I asked him to lead another initiative that we're working on right now called Many Routes, One City. And it's really a police department focus where our recruitment unit is trying to focus on people who, kind of how we started this conversation today, are not originally from here. Perhaps they're immigrants, they're refugees, they're new Americans. And there's some trust factors there that we've got to work through, right? And there's some that's real, and there are some that is media generated, we know. But regardless, it's real to the people. When you don't know if you can trust certain people, well, you know if you can trust certain police officers, wherever, it's our chance to kind of build inroads. Gotcha. And to his point, our goal is to recruit, right, in this situation, but it's also to improve relationships. Yeah. So even if not one person comes from this initiative that becomes an officer, if we can just build dialogue and have consistency where we're at events and there's no problems and we're building bridges, and that's what he started to really do, is to start to work with some of these communities. And whether they're talking about different Spanish-speaking new American groups, or we're talking about people from Nepal, people from the Congo. That's one of the beautiful things about our city. Is there's so many people and so many groups. But he's really had to have started to have a lot of dialogue and building relationships so that we can start to get in there and have these events and be welcome. Yeah. I mean, even like, we had our World Refugee Day that they haven't done in a while now because of the concerns. Yeah. And I understand that, what's real or perceived, regardless, if it's real to you, it's real to you. Yes, absolutely. And that's important. So that's not what we're about. So we want to just extend our hand and be consistent. And that's what Many Routes, One City is doing. And Officer Pena is doing a fantastic job. Talk a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, it's been amazing just speaking to different people and getting to connect with them and just trying to help them to join this program. Like I said, a lot of it is fear. A lot of people don't know what to expect, the fear of the unknown. What am I walking into? What am I going to have to do? What's required of me? And just being able to educate different people on, hey, like, this is how you do it. It's not far-fetched. You can do it. Believe in yourself. And it's just been great. Like I said, just building that connection with the community. Like I said, even if if you don't join, at least we were able to connect with you. Maybe even just change your perspective on policing. Because policing is different in different places. The policing is different in Dominican Republic, like it is in Puerto Rico, like it is in Cuba, like it is in every other place. So it differs from country to country to country. So a lot of people, view it the same way it is in their country. Like in Nepal, policing is completely different. Like trying to speak to them and let them know, like, hey, like, it's not what you guys think it is. Right. And truly breaking it down for them, like, wow, like this is different. This is different. This is cool. I like this, and I want to give this a shot. Like a lot of officers have said, like, this job has taken them out of poverty. Which is a big thing. And like I said, I can speak for myself. I didn't grow up rich. My parents didn't have a lot of money. I was happy and grateful and blessed enough that the lights were always on. There was always food on the table. Yeah. But, my parents didn't have much. Yeah. And this is...
And they sacrificed to have food and light up.
A lot of sacrifices were made. And, and that's also where I could connect with people, because some people just see the badge, just see the uniform. But what people don't understand is that, when we take this vest off, we also have a life. We're human beings. We have a background. We come from things. Sergeant Collins has a background. I have a background, and we've all have had our struggles. Yeah. And just connecting with them and them seeing that, like, wow, like,
see the human side of it.
Yeah. And they're like, wow, like, this is not too far fetched at all. Like, if they can do it, I can do it. And just bringing that message across to them and speaking to them. It's been great. It's been fun.
I love the name too. Many Routes, One City. Because you're absolutely, as we started this program, right? We all come from different places. We all have our own experiences, but we're all in this one city. Yep. And so we got to make it work for everybody. 100%. We got to make it work for everybody. Yeah. Awesome. So again, if people are interested, they can just go to the website, look for the different programs that are there. They want to sign up for a test or they want to join. Anything that you guys are doing is through the website.
That's right.
So that's pretty easy, and people know how to find that. I really appreciate you guys coming here today, sharing all of this with us, especially when it comes to policing, because I know that people have a lot of different, perspective about it. Unfortunately, a lot of it sometimes is negative,
Yep.
And I always try to find a way to change that, right? That it doesn't have to be that way. At least my experience has not been. I've had one or two, but I have to say it's always been better than worse, right? And I know that the work that I do as a community activist, I cannot do without the help
Oh, yeah.
of you guys, and I have some captains and some people that I have on speed dial that I could call right away if something's happening, and they always come, to our rescue. So, having that relationship with police is important. Having people that represent us, right, that look like us, that sound like us, that think like us is also important, right?
Yeah.
But then also having that diversity, because we are a very diverse city. And so we have to have a little bit of everything in this department. So I'm hoping that anyone that's listening, right, whether it's a person ready to graduate and still not sure what they want to do, they can try this out and see if this is for them, right? Or maybe that person that's, ready to change their career and they haven't hit 42 yet.
Yep.
They can also say, okay, let me try this and see how it goes. I can't say enough about the work that you guys do and how grateful we are. I like to end the show by saying by asking if there's a phrase or a saying that you grew up with, and I hope that you each have one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, my dad always told me, "Dime con quién tú andas."
Y te diré con quién eres.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and I love that, and I love it because honestly, who you surround yourself,
is important.
Is very important, and honestly, if that's a saying that I've always kept to myself, helped me stay out of trouble.
Yeah,
helped me always stay true to myself and remember my roots. Remember that I'm a Christian young boy. Remember that I don't need to be here. I don't have to do this, and I don't need this company around me. And honestly, it's been something that. Something I'm going to teach my kids too.
It's tell me who you're with, and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
So who you hang out with, can say a lot about who you could be. What about you? Do you have one?
Yeah. So I have a few, but I think my favorite is that the greatest sign of a leader is not about what they can do, but what they can influence others to do.
Yes, definitely. I like that one. Definitely. And I'm grateful for both of you, for the great leaders that you are in our community, and we really appreciate you. Thank you both for being here. Gracias a todos por acompañarnos en esta mañana. Lo esperamos nuevamente el próximo sábado de 10 a 11 de la mañana en Poder 97.1 FM, la única estación radial latina con dueños y operados por latinos, por la comunidad, para la comunidad. Esto ha sido su hora informativa, trayendo la información importante que nos inspira a una mejor calidad de vida. Que pasen una linda semana. Hasta la próxima, mi gente.